As a parent, imagine doctors telling you that your 6-year-old little girl wouldn't make it to the age of 7. What would go through your mind at that point in time? What if doctors said that there was such a slim chance that they didn't see any hope or had any idea of what would come next? But your child made it past the age of 7. But because of this awful thing she was diagnosed with, she lived the rest of her life pretty much in pain. How would you feel? How would you react? 16 years ago, that's what my parents had to go through, because doctors told them that I had systemic scleroderma, a disease that at the time affected 1 out of 363,000 people a year, much less a child. It was so rare and uncommon, they weren't exactly sure how to proceed. Systemic scleroderma is the hardening and thickening of the skin and major organs because your body overproduces collagen. It's an autoimmune disease, so it attacked your immune system because that's how it was able to survive and progress and live. And because of this, it made living a normal child life very, very difficult. By the time I was the age of 8, I was so underweight, it wasn't funny. I had to have a feeding tube placed. I was malnourished, and doctors didn't know what to do. I couldn't bend over to pick up things off the floor, tie my shoes, put my shoes on. I had to have help with that because bending over was tough because of how tight my skin was. I could barely eat then, and even now it's a hard time for me to do so. I have really bad acid reflux, which makes everything difficult and challenging for me to eat. I have to have surgery every 6 months to a year just because of the acid reflux. On days when I feel hungry, I go to eat and I instantly feel full because I have gastroparesis, so eating is difficult. It's affected the right side of my heart and my left lung, so exercise or climbing up a flight of stairs or sometimes talking is exhausting. It's tiring and you're out of breath completely. I get anemic sometimes, which causes me to get iron infusions. I have to travel 3 hours away just to get the best medical care that I can. Not only this, but I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, so most of the time I feel like a little 80-year-old woman instead of an amazing 21-year-old flexible person. I was also diagnosed with Raynaud's, so I'm not supposed to be out below 60-degree weather, which makes living in the north real fun. All of this was a struggle my entire life. Because I had no immune system, I would get sick so easily, so I spent most of my time at home in bed with a cold. I didn't get to go to school. And when I wasn't home in bed or struggling to get through a school day, I was in the hospital because I was too sick. This was definitely not part of a plan that I had. I'm sure my parents didn't think so either. Their little girl, who used to love playing dress up and perform shows, was now lying in a hospital bed fighting for her life. Just didn't seem fair. Now that I'm 21 years old, the disease has finally run itself out. I go to college full time. I work part time. I live on my own with my cats, and I try to live a normal 21-year-old life. But that's not to say that it doesn't go without its challenges, and it's difficult. Today, even though the disease wore itself out, I now deal with challenges that people who don't have autoimmune diseases face. I have depression, anxiety, I have anger, and I also have OCD. And that's something that I'm currently working on. I go see doctors constantly still, but that's to maintain my health. I have to deal with new problems that arise quickly out of fear that the disease might come back in full force. I'm nowhere near where I thought I would be. In fact, I didn't think I'd make it this far. I'm sure I probably wouldn't have lasted as long if it wasn't for people in my life to keep me going, and God for that matter. I'm not your average 21-year-old. I suffered through a lot. I have battle wounds. Right now I may be dealing with things mentally, but honestly, what could compare to what I've spent the past 16 years of my life through? I'm happy as to how far I've gotten, and I couldn't have done it alone. I'm very grateful and thankful for that. The whole purpose of this video was because I'm finally feeling free to share my story. I'm finally comfortable with how far I've come. I understand that people who are just recently diagnosed or had kids who are diagnosed feel completely lost and hopeless, and they feel like they or their children may never get through it, but I'm living proof that you can. It's not going to be an easy road. It's going to be a challenge. But let me tell you something. Just keep living every single day, one day at a time. Because before you know it, 16 years will go by and you'll finally get the sense of freedom. I have complete faith that you are going to be able to survive. And you have to have faith in yourself as well. Just take it one day at a time. And just be grateful for every day that you're alive and breathing. It's what gets you through. I appreciate you listening to my video, listening to my story, I should say. And I hope that in some small way, this will help you get you through whatever you're struggling with. I appreciate it. Keep fighting, because you're pretty freaking awesome. Thanks so much. Bye.